Is it recording? Peace and love, family. Welcome back to another episode of the Highly Emotional Podcast. Kurimeo, welcome to the Highly Emotional Podcast, bro. I can't wait to dive in this information that you got.
Man, thanks for having me. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, bro. So over the last couple weeks since we connected, I've been seeing your information. I've been jumping in it, learning a couple things, but I want to introduce, all my viewers and all my listeners to, the information that you have regarding like ancient pyramids in America, America being, the first starting place for all civilization basically, and then we could jump into like the tribes and the history, far as history as what we know and the true history. So if you could dive into starting with the pyramids and America being the starting point of everything.
Yeah, so, well, in order to start building pyramids, you have to have like a high advanced civilization, a people that are situated, not on the move, like hunters and gatherers, people that are settled down. And so you needed agriculture for that. So when it comes to agriculture, we have, you can research how, they're finding, fossilized corn here, squash, 8,000 BC, agriculture next to the mounds, next to the pyramid side. So with that, that's what kind of like helped people settle down, start building cities and stuff and pyramids. The oldest pyramids in the world are in Caral Supe, Peru. Talking about step pyramids. We got one of the biggest by mass is the Cholula Pyramid. One of the biggest things constructed by man by mass, and then one of the tallest is La Danta, El Mirador in Guatemala. So
So my question is, you can still hear me, right?
yeah,
So my question is, let me throw my phone because it keeps vibrating. My question is, so are there still pyramids in America? Because I always hear people talk about pyramids in America and the Great Mud Flood and stuff like that. So are they still here in America?
yeah. They're still all over. If you go to Central America, South America, people visit them all the time. In the
Okay.
Maya civilization. And you can still see a lot of the mounds in North America, and a lot of us speculate that there might be stone under that, not just dirt. So
Yeah, so my question is like, I mean, I've heard a lot of like people talk about pyramids being used for these different type of things, far as there being a power source. Some people say like, oh, there's just grave sites or anything like that. Do you know like more information on what they were used for?
I guess they had different purposes. Some were for burial. I guess some were for harvesting energy. The way they uh, built the shape. We know that does affect the energies and vibrations and frequencies of the earth. So I could be down with that.
Yeah, cause my thing is like, I have an older brother and we go back and forth, and he'll say something like, they're just to keep bodies. But the more that I've taken a dive into this whole pyramids and Anunnaki and so ancient civilizations and stuff like that, they're like, oh, these were a power source. If you go to like the top of one of the pyramids or something like that, there was supposedly like a stone, and when you sync up to this stone, you could like communicate on like a whole nother level or go to a place or astral projector, something along those lines. I've heard it in like multiple different contexts. So I'm like, okay, it has to be like something maybe like, in a sense, like multiple uses. You know what I'm saying? Similar to what you were saying is that, maybe based upon the people, based upon the civilization, depending on where the pyramid is directly like what it was used for, in a sense, which would make sense.
Yeah.
Do we have like, because I've seen people like show pictures of like in the North America that we live in, that there's pyramids that are like here right now, but they're just covered with like, grass or buildings on top of them or anything like that. Do you subscribe to those type of beliefs too, or those type of theories?
Well, a lot of pyramids are not dirt. There's a stone. You can go to Mexico and go visit the ancient sites. You can go to Peru and visit them. They're all there still. Those would be more in North America, because they say only there's only dirt mounds in North America, but that's not true. They found a lot of stone pyramids as well here. Also, there's been a lot of destruction. You know, but we do know that a lot of the pyramids in Mexico, they were tombs, because they found like the tombs inside of them, and Pakal and the royal people inside of them and everything, just like in the mounds. These burial mounds.
Yeah, I seen this documentary on Netflix where they were talking about um different ones. I believe they visited one in Indonesia where it was like these little like plates and stone like tablets in a sense, or like I don't know what they're called, like cylinders, where it looked like they were like either in the process of building something, or like it's for some other type of use based upon the stone that they have. Have you seen that?
I'm not sure what you're talking about, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's like somewhere in Indonesia. I'll send you the I'll send you the documentary and I'll post it here for anyone who's looking for it. Another thing I was gonna ask you real quick because it came to my mind. Um, do you subscribe to like how they used to? I don't know if you know this information or not, but like the ancient trees, how they used to have those giant trees that people supposedly like used to live in. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Is that like do you subscribe to that
Well,
or
I don't, me is not about subscribing. It's about doing research and trying to know things.
facts?
So like it's very obvious when you see tree trunks, like old tree trunks still out in the world. They're still there. You can see them, and you can see the geometric shapes on top of them, which is what the plant cellular looks like inside. When you go in through the microscope, you can still see that on the rocks and stuff. And you can see large mushrooms still petrified in New Mexico. Usually mushrooms grow on the trees. Like you can see all this stuff.
Facts. Yeah, I just wanted to it made me wanna ask you. But let's jump into this the original civilization and the original America. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So basically, they've had us looking to the other side of the world, when all those old cultures in the other side of the world has always been talking about a mother civilization, a mythical land towards the west or the Atlantic, and they got all these names for it, and it's become mythology. But there is a real history when it comes to mythology and real people. They're talking about is these so-called gods and all that are ancient Americans. We've been able to show that. And a lot of the mythology and the ancient cultures of the so-called old world, um, the Indians of American Indians are still practicing all that stuff. It's not just mythology; they're still living it. Even when the Spanish got here, they were describing this stuff and writing about it, and they were telling you, "Wow, this is like the ancient Egyptians, or this is like the Babylonians, or this is just like the ancient Hebrews, or whatever." So that's where we kind of go off. The primary sources.
So who were the original civilization? What name did they go by, and like what uh what did they do?
So not sure what you mean by what they do, but
like
like
like what like what like what type of lifestyles did they have? What type of things were in place before the crusades, before everyone got put into slavery? Because I seen how I was reading your information, how basically they were taking people from America and taking them to Africa. And also I seen that Christopher Columbus's him and his brother were slave traders, right? Or am I tripping?
yeah, they had Indian slaves.
Yes.
Uh,
So what were the people like originally before that happened, and then we can go into Christopher Columbus and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, so Christopher Columbus and them, that's compared to ancient history is very modern. So the Americas was is very ancient. We're talking about antediluvian. We're talking about so-called Atlantis. All these mythical lands, the ancient world, and these are very advanced cultures. whole cities with universities, ballparks, schools, libraries, clothing, festivals, like agriculture. This is what I was saying. Agriculture is the number one thing that help people settle down and become civilized, and that's the one thing that we're known for, and most of the fruits and foods of the world are coming out of the Americas if you trace the origin.
Yeah, and I seen that you were saying that the term Africa was something that was created later on, because like all of us, we think that we like everybody thinks that first of all, civilization originated in Africa. Everybody thinks that you didn't come from America, you actually got like brought over here on a boat and stuff like that. But even like based upon the documentation, like we're not talking about like your what if or something you've been told, but based upon the extensive documentation that everything started here. And whether people get offended of this or not, Africa was something that was coined or named later on, in a sense.
Yeah, the whole out of Africa theory is literally called a theory for a reason. Theories are not proven facts yet, and it's still a theory, and it's all based off Darwinism, based on people evolving from apes or monkeys. So, if people want to believe they evolved from monkeys, that's up to them. I don't, you can't really tell what to believe, what people what to believe, but I for sure, and a lot of us know that we're not coming out of apes, and that's the whole premise of the out of Africa theory, not anything to do with civilization. It's based on Darwinism, and then when you understand who Darwin was, before he wrote his theory of evolution, he had another book. He
Who
traveled the
who is
world.
Dart? Who are you talking about?
Darwin, the guy who came up with the whole out of Africa, we
Oh,
come out of
okay,
apes.
okay, okay, okay,
The
okay.
man evolved from apes and stuff, and there's still a missing link. They haven't really found the link. So when everybody say, "Oh, they traced the ancestors of all humans to Africa," that's not. They're not even talking about modern human types. They're talking about monkey bones. Literally, they're talking about Lucy and all these other stuff. Those are monkeys. They're not full humans.
Mm. Yeah, that's crazy that you say that. I have a conversation with people about this all the time. Like some people, say monkeys came from not they say we came from monkeys, and then a monkey found a mushroom, or like it's so many like theories out there. Like I'm like, nah, I me personally, I don't believe that we evolved from monkeys. I believe that we've been human beings. The only thing that I did see that was definitely like piqued my interest was the information about the Anunnaki and the Adamu and stuff like that. But like, does that tie in with the artifacts and the studies that you do for, like, what I'm saying, like to kind of like, I guess, like in a sense debunk it, because I remember you showing me like the helmets that they were wearing and stuff like that. But would you say that is not true, or would you say like it's a piece of the story in a sense?
I'm trying to understand the question.
So with the Anunnaki theory about Inky and Lil, I remember you showing me the helmets of the people who wore like the birds on their head and stuff like that, right? So like, even though the details are different, do these theories go hand in hand? Because you were saying that even things that people say are not true, like myths and legends and mythology and stuff like that, it's in a sense it's true. So do the things that you subscribe to, or the things that you research, does it prove the theory of Anunnaki? Is that a better question?
Yeah, well, so nobody has really proven Anunnaki. It's literally still myth.
Yeah.
And then it's linked to so-called aliens and space and all that. So you have to become a believer. It's not about knowing it. You got to kind of believe in it. And so what I'm trying to say is, they draw these eagle-headed beings or anything like that. Well, ancient Americans used to dress as eagles, eagle warriors, or jaguar warriors. That's where you get Wakanda, the Black Panther, things like that. Marvel, all of that Marvel stuff is based on American traditions. You know, if you really think about it, a lot of the Egyptian gods are all animals from America. They're called the Westerners for a reason. All of them, the main gods are all Westerners. They're not from so-called Egypt. They write that in their Book of the Dead and all that. So their whole history is a legacy. It's based on legacy and mythology. It's not. There's no origin to it. It just came out of nowhere, right? So they try to teach us things like it's almost like dumbing us down because they try to say, well, maybe the aliens built him. So that just kills everything. Everybody stops there and just stops researching because now it's a mystery. But mystery means my story. History is his story.
That's bars. I like that. Yeah, because I when you were showing me, do you are you able to share screen on here?
I guess, yeah.
Do you have any more pictures of those people with the helmets
Yeah, I guess I can.
or the
Let me see.
headgear? I don't, what is it directly called?
Eagle Warriors. That's
Eagle
what.
Warriors. There you go.
Yeah. So, okay. Can you see that or
There we go. All
okay?
right.
So you just all you gotta do is type in Eagle Warriors and you'll get all the info. But you know,
All I
that's
can see is oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. I
that's how
see
we
the
dress.
YouTube.
Yeah, that's how we dress as eagles. And you can find the Birdman. Let me see if it comes up.
Oh yeah, I don't see that. I only see YouTube on my screen.
Oh, it doesn't go to the different tabs.
I don't think
Oh
so.
man,
Maybe not.
that's kind of whack. Let me see. So I gotta share every tab. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I was intrigued by a lot of this stuff. The fairies. I was listening to your information about the fairies and whatnot. That was
Is this? Can you see it now?
let me see. Yeah, there we go. All right.
There's no way to share the whole window, like the whole browser, like every tab.
I don't think so. That's whack.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so these are the Eagle Warriors. And then when you were saying that the panther and stuff like that, these are all American animals,
Yeah.
which
So
is
panther means big cat, right? So it's not a real actual species of a animal. It just means big cat. So our black panthers are jaguars. Jaguars have black skin.
mm,
The black skin on jaguars is more dominant than the black skin on leopards in Africa. It's recessive. So that tells you there's an origin and where it originated from. And people here dress like literally like jaguars and black jaguars. That's where they get Wakanda and the Black Panther from. Wakanda, as I was showing here in my other thing, Wakanda is a Native American word. So let me show you. Wakanda.
it's whack that they only allow you to show one.
Yeah. So we got the word Wakanda here. I see Oregon.
Yeah, I can't even see it.
Oh, you can't see. It says still sharing. That's weird. Share this tab. Can you see it
There it
now?
goes. Yeah, there you
Okay.
go. Maybe it's for
Wakanda,
privacy.
Wakanda State Park. You know, like it's all over. It's a Native American word for the Great Spirit. This is from a book, Native American Garden, Wakanda, the Great Mystery, the Creator. Uh-huh. And this is the movie. So let me just show you. So it says religious conceptions are based on a belief in Wakanda or Manito, or an all-pervading spirit force whose cult involved various shamanistic ceremonials consisting of dancing, chanting, feasting, and fasting. All right. Again, people don't really know this. Wakanda is the term employed when the power believed to animate all natural forms is spoken or spoken of in supplications or rituals. By many tribes of the Siouan family, Manito is the Algonquin name for the mysterious and unknown potencies and powers of life in the universe. So, let's see if I got more. Yeah, the quarter sword unit conceded. Let me see. This is from one of my videos.
I got you.
Yeah. So Most people don't even know that. That's not an
The
African
best
word.
side hustle to
Sorry.
do in
It's not an African word. It's literally a Native American Indian word, for the great spirit, for the creator. All right. And there's actual rituals involved when it comes to Wakanda, just like in the movie of them taking and going and talking to the ancestors. They were doing this. They were literally doing The Indians were literally doing this. It says, so the Amaha, they recreate a origin myth. The boy would find an isolated spot where he would spread clay over his head, just like in the Wakanda movie. They put him in the dirt, they lay him down in honor of the animals who went to the bottom of a great body of water and brought up mud from which the earth. Let me pause it. Oh, sorry. When the earth was created, he prayed to Wakanda, the mysterious power that controlled all nature. The boy filled his mind with thoughts of health, successful hunting, and war and happy long life, but it was taboo to ask for special favors. So it says Wakanda, it was believed, would respond with a vision or dream that would include a sacred song. So just like in the movie, he would have a vision, he'd go talk to his ancestors, right? They're basically recreating all these American indigenous traditions. Even in the movie, they tell you they went to America first to look for Wakanda. It says here in the real beginning, Wakanda made the people, men, women, and children. After they were made, Wakanda said, "Go." So the people took all they had, carried their children, and started toward the setting sun. Right. So I was gonna show you also Birdman mounds. So in the mounds, right, they found this as well. The Birdman symbology all over. The Birdman. Here you go. This is a good one. Let me see. Okay. So the Birdman, this is from ancient times in the mounds of North America. The Birdman was just like in Mesoamerica, just like in Mexico. So what I'm saying is, when they show us an Anunnaki with a bird head, how do we know that's not just a costume they're wearing, and they're bringing corn, they're bringing food, they're bringing civilization, they're bringing knowledge. They're considered gods. So what I'm trying to say is, they had us thinking those alien stuff and mythological stuff. They're not really allowing us to really think for ourselves and know that these were actual real people, and they were coming from a real place, not just from space.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that a lot of these things are hidden from us. And when we talk about all of these beliefs and um slaves and all of the crusades that happened, based upon the information that you have, it was people who look like us. You know what I'm saying? Melanated people. At that time they were called swarthy, right?
Yeah, so ancient America had every kind of color you can think of, just like you find in Africa or in Europe and Asia. We have primary sources describing the American Indians like that, telling us there was including so-called black, just like in Africa, you know. Um, and yeah, so the Indians were so-called black as well. And they like to give us one view of American Indians, that they looked all the same, and that's not true. So, not only the Indians, but a lot of a lot of the original Europeans were also so-called black.
So let's go back. Let's jump into the Christopher Columbus thing, right?
Hmm.
So with the Christopher Columbus thing, he was a slave trader, and they been knew about America before he even came, correct?
Yeah, Christopher Columbus, real name is Salvador Fernandez Sarco. He was the grandnephew of Henry the Navigator, so he had access to a lot of navigational documents, old maps. He studied Plato and all the ancient Greeks when they talked about Atlantis. This is all written down, right? So
Can you
and
pull
so,
up the info for me?
huh?
Can you pull up some of that info for me?
Okay. It's in a lot of videos. So
Yeah, I mean, just something small, just so people could see what like exactly, you know, the descriptions and whatnot.
okay. Well, it's in my video, so let me see if I can.
Yeah, because it was crazy. I was having a conversation with the gentleman Rod Hayes, and he was telling me that a lot of the people who were um in a sense controlling the world, or the Illuminati, or however you want to put that word in there, is that they're actually people who look like us. And then I was having a conversation with my brothers, and he was telling me, he was like, you should ask them about the black hand. Have you heard about that?
The what? The what?
The black hand.
Well, what do you mean by that?
So it was supposedly like the people behind the Illuminati or whatnot that are melanated people, instead of, you know, what everyone's like, oh, the Illuminati or the higher ups or the people who are, you know, doing the things that are doing to us. They think that they're reptilians or they think that they're white people, but supposedly there's something called the black hand, which is darker people in a sense. I don't know full context of it. They just told me to
Yeah,
ask about it.
yeah. I would say there's definitely black folks in what you call Illuminati or elite circles. I don't think they go off just color. You know, to them it's not really about color. But when you see the Pope kissing black leaders, have you seen that video?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
Wait, are you talking about the one of him like kissing somebody's feet or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. Popes don't do that. Why would he be kissing people's feet?
Oh yeah, yeah, I seen this.
Yeah. So usually you kiss the Pope. You know, he has everybody kiss him and everything, and he's supposed to be the representative of Jesus on earth and all that. So like this is literally you know, when you know what's going on behind the scenes, you know he's paying honor to people more powerful than him.
Mm, yeah,
You know.
this is crazy. Yeah, so go ahead.
So when it comes to like showing Columbus, let me just explain science. So Columbus was a Sephardic Jew, which recently they just admitted. This is talking about in October.
Oh
They
shoot.
just admitted he was a Sephardic Jew.
And
Study
what's a
finds.
Sephardic Jew?
Okay, so Sephardic Jews are the so-called Jews from Spain and Portugal, right? That's what Sepharad is another name for Spain in the Hebrew.
Got
So
you.
Sephardic Jew means people, Jews that are from Spain and Portugal. These people were known in contemporary in those times to be melanated people, so-called black. So when you understand that, you understand who Columbus was, right? He was a black man, so-called black man. Now we've shown so much proof that the Sephardic Jews are Swarti or black. They've described them. I have so many videos like that, and that's what I'm saying. I can't just go through right now and
Facts,
give
facts,
you, but
facts.
I do recommend people if they want really to see the sources to like just check out the channel and you know you see all the videos and stuff because there's like hours and hours and hours of sources. You know,
So okay, so let's jump back into it. So Columbus and his brother, what was his brother's name?
huh?
What was his brother's name?
I think Bartholomew.
Okay, so who did they um who were they employed by to bring like the slaves over to, you know, all these different countries and all these different places?
Okay, well, see, at the time, yeah, so when you understand that the same year that Columbus came to the Americas is the same year, like 3 months before that, when the Inquisition started in Spain and Portugal, meaning the Catholics were kicking out all the Sephardic Jews and Muslims after they were there for 800 years ruling. They were living together, the Sephardic Jews and the Muslims, very prosperous together. And the Catholics took over. That was the Inquisition. And we're talking about Charles V, right? The
Who's
Holy
also
Roman
black,
Emperor,
right?
a so-called black man. Yes, Charles V. You know, this is stuff maybe we can. So that's him right here. That's Charles V, right here. And how do we know? It's we've proven his all his ancestors are black. They're described as black folks, brown skin, swarty. Swarty means black in those times. That's one way they hid this stuff. Yeah, and so this other painting right here. Oh, sorry. This one right here is from a Larco Museum in Lima. That's him standing next to the Inca kings, and that's Carlos
Wait,
Quinto.
I can't see it.
Oh, okay, sorry. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know why they gotta keep. Okay,
Yeah, it's crazy. All right.
can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Oh no. Oh, So yeah, like people think that hold on, let me see if I can make it bigger. This one. Okay. Well, it's a little pixelated, but I have better images of this. So that's Charles V of Carlos Quinto next to the Inca king. This is a painting done. This is a king's list. It's a bigger painting. It's in the
Yeah, that's the
Lima.
stop of Inca right there.
Yeah, that's Atahualpa, the last Inca that they murdered. Um, and that's him taking over. He's the new king. He actually became the king of the Incas, after when they took over. And this is Carlos Quinto or Charles V. And this is a so-called black man. This is a real painting from those times. This is how they painted him. So we got black Europeans kicking out other black folks. So it's not about a white and black thing. A lot of people have that misconception. And so the Sephardic Jews, Columbus and all the other ones who were the ship owners, the mariners, the pirates, what we call crypto Jews or new Christians, because they had to convert by force in order to work for the crown. A lot of them just faked it until they can make it. That's why they were called crypto or secret Jews or secret Muslims, crypto Muslims, or Marranos, or what's the other word? Moriscos or Marranos, right? And they were used to colonize the Americas. They were the first sugar plantation owners. They were the ones producing sugar before they came to the Americas. We're talking about Sephardic Jews, black folks, all right? And so, yeah, it's natural for them to come to the Americas and enslave Indians and bring them back and put them in their sugar plantations over here and or in Europe or anywhere. Um, his first voyage was a reconnaissance, like he was just scoping out the area. He brought back some Indians, and then he said, "Hey, they're mad easy to invade. They're very friendly. We can definitely take them over." They came back on their second voyage with a military, with the ships and the weapons and everything ready for conquest. And Columbus, again, he wasn't lost. That's a whole fake story. He knew this was India Superior or Grand India, Greater India. That's what old maps show of North America. He was looking for the Grand Khan. He wrote in his Book of Prophecies. This stuff people can all look up. That he was coming to recover the holy city and Mount Zion for the crown.
So um so when they were coming here, was it confirmed or did they call it because I've heard that originally they were calling America Turtle Island. Is that true?
Yeah, North America was referred to by many nations as Turtle Island. Not all of them called it that. Yeah.
Okay, and then I seen that what they were doing is that they were asking people, and some however way it was presented to them was basically about Christianity, and that if for the people who were already Christian, they so if they were Christian, they were able to like be something else besides just a slave. But if they did not have the knowledge of um, Christianity, that they were forced to be a slave. Is that true?
What was the question again?
So is it true that like what they were doing with the people that they were enslaving? One is that if they were converting them to Christianity. If they already had taken, Christianity as their religious beliefs or whatnot, that they were able to do something else, like maybe be workers or like survive in a sense in comparison to people who weren't Christian, they would become slaves, right?
Yeah, so that's like the Popol Vuh decree. I actually had that up, or Dum Diversus. So after they had consolidated power in Europe, Asia, and Africa, the last place to conquer was the Americas. So they got ready over there, and they created their Popol Vuh, their decree. That's basically a decree the popes give out, and you have to follow it. And again, they tell you in their decree, this is part of it right here, that
Oh, you
they,
got to pull it up.
yeah, okay, share this tab. Let me see.
There it goes.
Okay. So they are to, and this is from the Popol Vuh itself. So they are to invade, search out, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens. So Muslims, and they include the Sephardic Jews there. Also, they include so-called Hebrews or the sons of Sarah, Sarah's sons, the sons of Sarah, Saracens, pagans. Indians were called pagans whatsoever, and other enemies of Christ. So anybody who was not Christian or didn't follow that was an enemy. whatsoever place. And so, what are you taking? They're taking their kingdoms, dukedoms, principalities, dominions, possessions, and all movable and immovable goods whatsoever held and possessed by them, and to reduce the persons to perpetual slavery. So their words, dum diversos, literally means until different, meaning until we do something. So like we're literally still under this rule right here, perpetual slavery. So we I know we think we're free right now, but we're still under Roman Catholic rule right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was hearing. I heard that like now we're finally breaking through. Is that true that we're like things are changing now, or would you say no?
Well, I guess people waking up, that's why they wrote Papa Bull, I mean Dum Diversus to mean until different. Let me see if I can. So So it says Inter Caetera among was a papal bull issued by Pope Alexander VI on May 4, 1493, which granted the Catholic monarchs King Ferdinand of Aragon and Queen Isabella all lands to the west and south of a pole to pole line, 100 leagues west and south of any of the islands of the Azores or Cape Verde Islands. So, that's when they're papal bull, they literally, as I just read, literally telling us that there's kingdoms here, dukedoms, principalities. Literally, they're not just savage people here. They knew all this stuff. They wouldn't have done a papal bull or decree, and they weren't lost. They weren't guessing. They're like, oh, here I'm going to finance you. You did ask me that earlier. So he was actually financed by Sephardic Jews. He
Mm.
wasn't financed by the crown. They just took the name because they're in charge. They took the credit, but he was financed by Sephardic Jews. They're the ones who own all the ships. They knew all the ports. They already were traveling back and forth. They knew about the Americas. Of course, now it's known that Columbus wasn't the first to cross the Atlantic from that side. There was already, so-called Vikings, Celtic people coming back and forth. But when it comes to crossing the Atlantic, anybody who first crossed the Atlantic would have been an American Indian, and this is confirmed by an expert in navigational history. And the reason behind that is because the currents are a lot stronger. They bring you all the way to Europe from the Caribbean, from South America. The Gulf Stream literally brings you to Ireland from Jamaica. Goes up the East Coast. The winds are more favorable going that way. It's 4 times harder to come the other way. So if anybody was to cross the Atlantic first, it would have been American Indians, and that did happen. They were being washed ashore over there. A lot of trees, a lot of seeds, beans, and stuff like that were ending up in the British Isles and the Iberian Peninsula, and they even became local. After a lot of times of the food handing up over there, they started growing on the coast over there. And scientists know these are American plants.
Yeah, I remember you saying that specific fruit. Was it fruit or was it wheat or what, or was it corn? It was something like that that was originally made in America, and then other places took on this as time went on.
Yeah, well, in Africa, right? 600 out of 640 food crops originated in the Americas, and that you can include that all over the world. Most of the food's coming out of here, and the same food that you're finding fossilized here, 8,000 BC, 9,000 BC. They're not finding any of that in Mesopotamia, where they're saying the cradle of life is. They're not finding archaeological agricultural zones like they find in here in the Americas. And again, that is the key to civilization, agriculture.
So in a sense, so now, so originally all the food came from here, and then now we getting it back from them worse in a sense, right?
I'm sorry?
So like basically all the food before originated in America is in a sense majority of it, right? And but
Yeah.
now we're getting our food from those places, but now it's worse. Like the food itself is worse than what it was when they got it from us in a sense.
Yeah, it's been altered, genetically modified many, many times. You know, you might see, like, let me just see these pictures. You can see the old corn looks like acorn. A lot of the times, these ancient deities are holding what they're saying is acorn, but it's actually maize. Maize, corn is native to the Americas. They found maize in so-called Babylon and China, ancient China, and the hieroglyphics in Egypt. There's corn all over it. People don't pay attention to that stuff. There's pineapples. There's all that. That's all American foods and plants. So corn is what feeds the world. Corn is what helped people settle down and get civilized. That's one of the main foods, and that's native to the Americas. You know, and many of the old corn look like acorn, and that's what these gods are supposedly holding in their hand. You know, let me just see if we can get it. Birdman. Let's see if it comes up. Yeah. So just like this, what we were talking about earlier about the Eagle Warriors. This is supposed to be an Anunnaki. He got corn in his hand,
My boy
right?
picking that corn, that American corn,
Yeah, he got corn in his hand. Let me see.
a basket.
Yeah, this one's a good one. So that's literally corn that he's holding.
Yeah,
So they
that's
turn a lot of
crazy.
the history into mythology, into like this out of world alien stuff to hide the truth, to hide the heritage and the origin of a lot of things. There's still an origin and center to everything. There's always and when it comes to these old world cultures on the other side of the world, they just start out of nowhere. It's all mythology. It's all about deities. There's no real legacy. It's just a legacy. There's no real origin. But when you come to the Americas, we have a story and an origin for everything.
Yeah, that's it's crazy because you showing me this made me think about that what I one of your episodes that I was listening to about the fairies and stuff like that. But the question is what I'm sitting here thinking is why do we like why is everything either misconstrued or in a sense like becoming like mythology? Like what is the purpose? Is there like someone who like provided some information on how to control people based upon like if you make them believe that this is a myth or if you tell them that it's the white people who's doing all this? So like is there a person? Is like does that date back to any of the studies that you've taken on?
You're saying like who's
Yeah, like
lying?
what's the like what is the purpose? Like why are we taking on like okay, Christopher Columbus was white and European and but instead he's swarthy or like this whole Anunnaki thing, like what is like what's the purpose? Like I because I'm looking at or I'm thinking about how when they were enslaving people, how if you know what I'm saying, to break a slave. So in a sense that if you beat the man in front of the woman to develop her into becoming an independent woman. So like what's the purpose? Why if it's really our people who did this to us, our same melanated looking people,
There you go.
why are they I guess I just did answer the question. But
You
what's the purpose of showing us a white person and making like us hate a white person? What was the purpose? Why are they doing that in a sense? Because I mean, I guess what you're gonna say is because they
so
don't want us to know it's us.
well, Sun Tzu, right? The Art of War.
Yeah.
Okay, what did he say
Mm.
about your enemy?
Hey, if your enemy is close, make them think that you're far. If your enemy is far, make them think that you're near. Also,
He said
keep
he
your
also he
enemies
said
close in your
yes.
family. Okay, yeah,
Know your enemy.
yeah.
Know your enemy. So if they got you looking at the wrong person, scapegoats, you'll never understand. You're always blaming. That's what they want you to do. They want you, and then now you're creating separation based off color, not of real history, not of nations. Nations ain't based off color only, right? So we got there's a saying that say all skinfolk ain't kinfolk, right?
Mhm.
So if the colonists were so-called black, right? The Indians, a lot of them were so-called black, right? Now years go by, all these people getting grouped together as Negro, colored, black, African American, and now we and them who the white man. So now it's like now you just forgot all about who you really are. your whole history. There's a reason for that, because it may go biblical, and a lot of people not go don't go into that. But some certain people got the inheritance or the blessing, and certain people didn't in the same family, and that's where you get the whole Edomite and all this stuff. And they've been fighting for that privilege to be the rulers.
You still there? It looked like you glitched out for a second.
I got because I mentioned Chazars, Khazars, and
Yeah, nah. That's crazy. That's crazy. Soon as you started talking about it, they don't want us to have this
I just said I
information.
don't know how far I can go because you might get censored, and I realized I wasn't even online again.
Um, I forgot what you were saying. So okay, so basically it's us doing it to ourselves. And then back to what you were saying is that the art of war, and basically you gotta, like you said, know your enemy. So in a sense, but then my question is, why did we switch to African to Swarthy to black? Like, is it to keep like the confusion going, in a sense, to continue to make people think that there's a difference, in a sense?
Okay, so can you ask the question again a little bit?
So what is the reason, like, why do we identify as black over African over Swarthy when we're truly all just American? Like, what's the purpose? What do they gain by making us identify as this?
Well, if you're calling yourself an African, then you're thinking you're coming from another land, so you're never going to claim your own land. First of all, your own identity, and then you're letting other people claim it. I mean, that's a very a logical thing to do, and make them forget who you are, make people forget who they are, so they'll never fight for their right or their identity back. You know.
So
So
go ahead.
now I was just gonna say it's mostly in all so-called Black Americans. They are both American Indians and Black Europeans. There's no separation. This is a deep history, and by saying you're African, you're disconnecting both heritages from you.
So what would be the best thing to call yourself?
No, I mean now you're just American. I mean you've been here longer than most so-called Europeans that are calling themselves, "Oh, I'm just American." I'm American. Nobody, they don't have to say I'm Italian American, I'm German American, I'm Polish American. They're just American, right? But a lot of them came from out of Ellis Island recently. They haven't been here as long as most Black folks have been here. Their families have been here in the Americas, and most of them have Indian, so they've even been here since ancient times. So I'm talking about real Americans.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about it. The more that I'm asking you these questions, because I know they may come off as like dumb questions, and then I start answering it as I'm explaining it. Because I realize it's sad because we're stuck on the construct of thinking that we came from America and black this and black that. Like, I'm a firm believer, is like, for me, just based upon the connotation of anything black is usually demonized and always negative. Like, I personally, if you ask me what I am, I just say I'm God. And not saying that I am the creator of everyone, but I am one with the creator of everything, because in my personal opinion, I am equal to everything in existence. But everyone, when I say that, that's when everyone's like, super offended, because they think that I'm against black people or anything like that. And I'm like, no, that's not what it is. It's just, when you have the overstanding of that, when we identify as these terms that were told to us or put on us, then you're taking away your power. In a sense, you're taking away like who you truly are. I mean, in a sense, we should be all saying that we're American, but whenever anybody hears the term American, they think, like you said, they think that you're talking about white people. And it's like, no, bro, like, we came from here. All things originated from here. Your ancestors, everything that they believed in, everything that their people came from, started here. But yet we're offended when we hear these terms, when we hear, Indian and tribal or indigenous or so on and so forth, aboriginal, all these different things. What is the difference between indigenous and aboriginal?
Well, it depends on how you want to call yourself. I would say that they kind of mean the same thing, you know. Um, Let me just show you son. So Aboriginal, it applies to the Australian people mostly. They call themselves Aboriginal, but I would say that a lot of people can use that for indigenous, but a lot of people don't because they say ab means abnormal, not
Oh,
original. So it's like saying not original, but I know what people mean when they're using it. When they're saying I'm the Aborigine of America, I know what they mean. They're saying that they're indigenous people. So this is from the Webster's 1828 dictionary, right? From 1828. This is the online version, but you can find this on the old
oh, hold
original.
on. I only could see the shades of color.
Okay, my fault.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay, so American, right? You go to look for you go here, search, you put American. It's going to say a native of America, originally, big keyword, applied to the Aborigines or copper colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So that's kind of
Oh,
like the definition because these Europeans mixed in with them. So it's still kind of the Indians too because they did mix in a lot. But when you think about, okay, copper colored races, right? You're talking about copper. Right, hold on, let me see. I had it up.
you gotta
Uh,
swap it. You gotta swap it back.
okay, here we go.
Oh, there it
Shades
goes.
of copper colored, right?
Yep.
I mean, this is something very logical, and people, you know,
So it's not that we all black. It's not that we all white.
yeah,
It's
exactly. Black is
we're
a crayon color. Those are crayon colors, and I guess that the best way to describe it is copper color. Copper has a lot of shades, shades of brown. A lot of different shades of brown. So there's light, as it says here, light, semi-dark, dark colors.
Yeah, that's deep because I always hear people when they do talk about Aboriginal people. They're always like copper colored people. Um, they're melanated. They look like us, but even there's copper colored people, and that's why you have some people who are like, I'm Cherokee Indian, but when you first see them, you think that they're white based upon their skin complexion, but they're copper colored in a sense too, right?
They're sorry. Who?
I said, you know how you get like some people who are like they'll say that they're like Cherokee Indian or anything along those lines, and they'll kind of look like they're white, but copper comes in multiple colors, so
Yeah,
therefore they're copper colored people also. They're not
yeah,
European or white like what you think or what people think in a sense.
yeah,
So yeah, so I mean that's a crazy that's such a crazy extensive research of information, because when you see this, it's like you cannot deny it. You cannot deny these facts that are sitting here in front of you. Like, why would people create this information for no reason? I guess we can say, like, to even add more confusion, but it's literally all right here. Copper colored race. Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
yeah,
It's just crazy, and I feel like when we're not aware of this, we're identifying something outside of ourselves, so it takes away our power of ourself, like our moral power on what we are. We're so confused, bro. We're so confused identifying as as something that someone told us was, or that we are, without doing like the research, bro. It's literally right here. Like, this is mind blowing. Look at that. And then I heard, and this is gonna sound crazy too, is that like originally they say that um before we were copper, we were like blue and freaking purple and all types of different colors. But the reason why we're shades of copper is um based upon like the air and so the atmosphere and all these other different things. Yeah, it's right there. Two sides of a penny.
Yeah, so yeah, like it says here, copper color for that metal has several very different hues. This is one of my videos. I have videos on the how they describe the Indians, so this is what I'm kind of going over in this video, and it's gonna tell you we had every shade, what you call so-called black, tawny, swarthy, dark, Negro-like. I literally we have a lot of sources, or cinnamon, mahogany. You just got to picture what all this stuff really looks like, and then you put that next to a so-called black person, you'll see that that's the shade of most black folks. They're not black like a color black, literally. You know,
Yeah,
this
cause
right
I
here. This is the emblem of America, by the way. That lady.
oh, is that who's on? Is it like a penny?
No, no, that's a painting from like the 16 or 1700s.
Isn't there like a coin with like a indigenous woman on it?
Maybe. Let me just show you this one though. Emblem of America. Okay. So emblem of America, right?
I've
And
seen
this is in
those.
the British Museum. They have this in the British Museum. So I believe this is Queen Khalifa.
You gotta share it.
Oh, okay, my fault. This is the emblem of America.
Who is Queen Khalifa?
Oh, wow.
You gotta put me
uh,
on. We here for a lesson.
yeah, Queen Khalifa was a Amazonian queen. This is where they get Wonder Woman from. She was in California when it was an island. California used to be an island, and this is very recent. So this is what I believe they're depicting when they depict this lady here as an emblem of America. You'll find this in the British Museum collections, the emblem of America. And actually, somebody went to the British Museum and went and found the actual original, and they filmed it. I forgot who it was, um, but he went and he's like making sure he showed people it's there, it's there. They want you to think that this is only an African, that this is what Africans look like, but this is what American Indians look like as well.
Yeah, it's unlocking in my head on how many of us people we all look alike, because when you look at people from all those different countries, you look at Peruvians, that like
This right here,
these
this right
people on
here
the
is from
left.
Asia.
Yeah, the people on the left, they look like they could be Indonesian people look like
Yeah,
this.
this
You
is
know what I'm
from
saying?
Asia. This is Asian people. I'm talking. That's what I'm showing in the video. In this part of the video, I'm showing Asians. Because they're describing them as well as swarthy or copper colored.
I see it.
So, and then I'm showing the shades right here. You know, and that's a basketball player, NBA.
So we are not black.
No, that's a crayon color. That's a hijack. They want you to, because that in law that means deaf. That means nothing. You're literally That's why they get away with a lot of stuff when you're calling yourself black. You know, you gotta identify correctly. They'll treat you like a sovereign. They'll treat you like a real person. But if you call yourself black, they have the little corporate jargon, laws, words that they use against you.
Yeah, one of my cousins was telling me about that too. He was like, "Yeah, when you go to court and they say this or they say that based upon the verbiage, it lets you know, or it lets them know what type of person that they're dealing with, and they automatically put you in a box, which is crazy as hell."
Yeah. This part of the book I'm reading, this is Researches, Philosophical and Antiquarian Concerning the Aboriginal History of America but from 1829, this book right here. And he says, we consider therefore that the color of the American Indians in general is a brown, differing in intensity with various tribes, according to various localities, but that it is almost impossible to say what that brown color principally resembles. The cinnamon is, in our apprehension, the nearest approach to it, though still inaccurate for generalizing. So again, different shades. There's really darker tribes. There's lighter tribes. So look, that's cinnamon, right? You know.
Yeah, that's yo. It's crazy. So the word, so bro, it's so much confusion, man. When you see this, it's like, what can you say? Like, what can you truly say, bro? It's right
Well,
there in your
a lot of
face.
people get ignorant and say, "Well, those ain't black people," and
What?
then, yeah,
I
yeah,
like I don't know. I like when I look at, even when I look at someone, because you're Hispanic, right?
yeah,
So even when I, like, for me, I had this conversation with my I was having a conversation with my sister and my mom one day, and they were saying like, oh, Hispanic people can't say nigga and this and that. And I was like, if you're using the term nigga as a term of endearment, you should be able to see that Hispanic people are the same as you. But I think a lot of people in America specifically think that Hispanic people did not deal with the things that we dealt with when, like, slavery, oppression, all these different things. They think that they don't deal with the same things, but these are our equals. These are our people. We are all one people. So for people to see this and then have like some type of judgment of like, oh, you can't say this and you can't say that. If you're using it as a term of endearment, then I
yep,
feel like we are the same. It shouldn't be applied just to one person. It's either you don't say it at all because it's a negative connotation, or you realize that it's a term of endearment. In the times that we are now, it's like it's like I feel that if a person is using it in a term of endearment, you shouldn't have an issue with it. And my sister, she was like, "Oh well, they're not black." And I was like, "Well, when you're using these certain type of words, you're instantly applying it to a culture. Nigga, the term nigga now is based upon the trap culture or the ghetto culture in America." And it's like, bro, y'all don't realize that there's people like in these other places that are literally the same as us. You can go find a person in Peru that looks like a black person in America.
yep,
So it's either you're applying these terms, nigga, or whatever, to a term of endearment to people who are specifically in the trap, or you're applying it to all people who are melanated. It has to make sense. It can't be, like, based upon who you choose. Like, it's right here in front of our face. These people look like me. These people look like you. These people look like people that are in America, people in Atlanta. There's melanated people, copper colored people, or whatever you want to call them, and we all look the same. So this documentation right here where they calling people cinnamon, it's hella people out here that look like cinnamon. It's hella people out here who look like all these terms or all these comparisons, but yet, because the bullshit that has been applied to us, we think like black. But I'm a firm believer, like, when it comes to black is a term that's mainly used in America,
yeah,
and that's just what it is. It's not people over in Africa don't technically call themselves black. They call
yeah.
themselves African, as we should call ourselves American then.
As says here, Baron Humble remarks, if the uniform tint of the skin be more coppery and redder towards the north, it is on the contrary among the Chaimas of the deep brown, inclining to tawny. The denomination of copper-colored men, Roges Cuveres, could never have originated in equatorial America to designate the natives. And so this is different sources they're using here, and these are like people who saw the Indians. Gomila and the description of the Orinoco says the color of the Indians on the borders of Orinoco is so diversified that he could say nothing of it under one general head. The Guaycuros of Brazil are of a darker tint than copper. Like that's really dark. That's Southeast history of Brazil from I think that's from the 1600s. You know, so this is we're talking about dark copper. You know, the chowders are more black than white without any mixture of red. The Guianas are different people from the Guaranis of Brazil and Paraguay, differ from all the Indians of those nations by the lightness of their color, and some of them have blue eyes. So yeah, so it's there's all kinds of different complexions, and let me just so this is the emblem of America. Let me just show you some things here.
You got to swap it again.
Okay, so this is from the Journal of Negro History. Right, it says ran away from his master, Eliezer Ting, Esquire, at Dunstable, 26th of May, a Negro man servant called Robin, almost of the complexion of an Indian. A Negro man with the complexion of an Indian. So when you understand what Indians look like, really, not what you think of tomorrow, then you understand what they're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
I also seen that you had some information on when they would take Indians from America and take them to Africa, that they would have them identify as African.
Yeah, well, they probably took on, yeah, the name African and stuff they mixed in.
What is this?
This is found in the Americas. So this is a gold pendant from Panama. This is a Toltec statue. You see that looking like Egyptian.
Yep.
And then you got this in Canada, and then this is an Olmec. And this one right here on the right on the top is from Teotihuacan in Mexico. That's what they found there. So they're using the left Nigerian person, I believe, to just for example, just so you can compare.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. It's all the same. They're all the same people, same noses, same type of lips, same facial structures. It's literally all the same.
These are historical drawing of Iroquois. This is a Narragansett Indian, a Narragansett Indian hunter here. So a lot of people, they carry this and they don't even know. They have a lot of Indians say, my mom said we were Apache, or my mom said we Cherokee, or anything like that. They think they're just part Indian. They think they just because they think the Indians enslaved. They think white Indians enslaved Africans, and that's why they're Indian, and that's a misconception. So this is Servia Gold Mitchell. She's a direct descendant of Massasoit, the chief that the Pilgrims encountered, Massasoit in Massachusetts. That's his descendant. This is a drawing of Oneida Chikelami, Swatana Iroquois Native American. So you see the copper. All right. So let me just show you some examples of. So this is a Jantanite woman looking like Nicki Minaj, even though she's mixed. She has some Hindu, I think, in her as well.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. And then you got Ti. This is a Taino man, and actually he said his dad is Taino.
That's crazy. And yeah, the facial structures,
Yeah.
even how they're making the same face looks very similar.
Yeah, the same face and everything.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. This is more Indians here. This is what I'm saying. So very diverse looks. We call them phenotypes. That's like a misnomer, but we had every phenotype, not just one nose, one type of look. We had every type of look. So when they're going through all the archaeological stones here and sculptures and stuff, and these writers are writing about them in the 1900s, 1800s, they say, "Oh, we found Europeans here because they have an alkaline nose, or they don't have a big flat what they think is an African face." So they'd say, "Oh, these are probably Europeans that came here in ancient times," but that's not correct. We had again every look. We had every look here, every hair type, you know, and So these are some images. Oh, this is in Portland, Oregon. Lewis and Clark. This is a Siouan man. He was in an exhibition there, And then this is a lady that's been fighting for her identity to reclaim, as it says here, the Black Americans suing to reclaim their Native American identity. And you got all these tags, right? Colored, mulatto, Negro, Black, Indian, white. Black folks have been the most reclassified people in the world. They just keep changing their name every 50, 60 years. So again, these are like our archaeological things from the Americas. This is from walls in Mexico, the Bonampak murals. If nobody knows, let me just show you that Bonampak. It's clearly telling you who was over here and this part of Mexico. So the Bonampak murals. Here you go. You can see,
Oh
and
yeah.
they and again they got the Jaguar clothing on,
Yep.
dressed like Jaguars, Black Panther.
It look just like Black Panther.
Yeah. And so this is in Mexico right here. You see, and then they got the hair wraps and they got dreadlocks and all this other stuff.
That's crazy as hell. So all right, so bringing it back around,
Okay.
before we jump off. All right, so let's get this straight. Like, to say that we're black is wrong, right?
Yeah.
That's not what we are. Like, let's
Yeah.
like let's clear it up just for people who are watching this so they understand what we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
So to say that we're black is incorrect, right? What we truly are is American, right? Original Americans, right? Or
Yep.
is there
I
another
think
term?
you're. I think you're the Americans because not only are you the American Indians, but you're also the founding fathers. So you're very American.
So we're doing a disservice of ourselves of calling us black, but also the people who enslaved us, the people who made us indoctrinated in multiple ways, and have applied these laws, and did these things to our ancestors, were not people of different color descent, but people who look like our brothers and our
Yeah.
sisters and our family members. And
Yeah.
as time prolonged, they somehow swapped it to make us believe that it was someone outside of us, but
Yeah.
truly it was our own
Yeah.
fucking people doing this to us. And to
Yes.
anybody who's offended, anybody who doesn't understand what's going on, if you look at all this information, everything that is on his YouTube page, it's to show you the truth, not to offend you, but to increase your knowledge so that you have the information, so that therefore you know who you truly are. Because when we identify as these things outside of ourselves, when we identify as what people have been telling us to believe, for people, or people that have been telling us that we are something else, whether it's nigga, black, whatever you want to call it, negro, that is not what you are. You are not that. You aren't these things. And in all the documentation, you originated from here in America, not in Africa, not in all these other places. You literally, your lineage, your ancestors all started here. And as time prolonged, everyone started to work their way out, whether it was they were enslaved, whether it was they moved, they migrated, whatever it is, it started here. So we're doing a disservice when we are calling ourselves black, when we are calling ourselves all these other things. It's not true. It's not true. The truth is, as you've seen, we were copper colored people, we were Tainos, we were Swarthy, we took on all these other names. But in true actuality, I'm gonna let you take it over. We are what?
Well, many shades of copper or brown, I guess. That's why people got to do their own genealogy. Every person has a unique history and unique story in their family. So again, all skin folk and kinfolk, and that's why we push people doing their genealogy and getting to know their own bloodlines, their own ancestors, because it's very diverse and complex. There's a story, even like people thinking those last names are slave master names. So that's something you didn't bring up. That's what I kind of want to. These are your last names. This is what I'm trying to show you here when I'm showing you these emblems from Europe. These are the names. These are people. That's what the people look like that were carrying these last names that came here to the Americas, whether they were indentured servants, prisoners of war, convicts, colonists, conquistadors. They all got different stories, but these are your names in whatever way or form they came here. And again, this is like all the old drawings of the Indians. All the old drawings show them like this. You know, and look, this is all over. Like this, is, so many people waking up. So many people waking up. This is Florida. You know, they wouldn't just be drawn. These are from old drawings for no reason. You know, Yucatan, Guatemala. Look at that. They're from old maps, right?
So for everybody blaming the white man, it wasn't the white man.
Yeah.
Not to say they didn't do anything, but hey, we was doing it to ourselves.
Can you see this tab?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So these are the Atacapas. They're from Louisiana and Texas. And this is the book, The Lake Charles Atacapas, from 1817 to 1820. written by J.O. Dyer, and it says that the savages who, so they call, of course, they're going to still call them savages, but you got to dodge the hijack with that. The savages who were the coastal clan of interior tribes were of a very low type of civilization. They were dark skinned, with dirty, short, coarse, black, matted hair. All right. And this is an actual historical drawing of the Atacapa people. This guy right here. You can Google that and you'll find this drawing from the 1700s. So there's so much evidence out there. This is from the Atlantic Journal and Friends of Knowledge, Encyclopedic Journal and Review of Universal History. Says he says Mr. Rafinsky, point number 10. He has a lot of points. He goes over a lot of different things. So point number 10 says the Americans cannot have sprung from a single nation because independently of the languages, their features and complexions are as various as in Africa and Asia. We find in America white, tawny, brown, yellow, olive, copper, and even black nations, just like in Africa. We also got dwarfs, giants, handsome and ugly, features flat and alkaline noses, thick and thin lips. You know, and then so we got that, and then we got the black Europeans. So this is what I'm saying. This is all in you. It's all your history. You are the American Indian. You are the founding fathers. The black Europeans mix heavily with the American Indians. So it wasn't just always, oh, the evil white man came and colonized us. A lot of times they were indentured servants. They were working in the plantations as well. They were getting sent to the sugar plantations. They got their freedom. They hooked up with American Indian women, and they had babies, and that you're a product of that, you know. So by telling you you're African, you're again killing all your heritage, both sides of it, all, whatever you are.
Bars. I love it, bro. I love it. And I don't want to take up too much of your time. We could spend back on this stuff too. We could do it again. Just
Yeah.
just because I want people to be able to dive in this information. Even though I know some of my questions may come off as ignorant, or just from a place of no knowledge and stuff like that, but if we don't ask dumb questions,
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to get great answers.
Yeah.
So
No
that's
problem.
that's the most simple thing. What I normally do with people who come on my podcast, I ask for two things. um One, I asked for a book reference, to maybe something that has helped you, follow on this journey, or go along this journey. And then two, a powerful quote that you can apply to your life. So those are two things I need from you.
Hmm. So a question you said first?
A powerful
Oh,
book, or a book
oh,
that helped you on your journey. And then the second one is a powerful quote.
wow, a book. Wow. There's so many books I've read, man. Let me see. Hmm. Yeah, I just can't. Like, it's not one book.
Just
It's
give me
just.
one at the top of your head.
Oh, I got like top of my head.
Just grab one, anyone, if you got one.
Let me see. So I mean, that one was a good one we were reading in that video.
Which
It's
one is
talking
it?
about the different complexions here. Look at this. I know not. It's still playing. I know not whether the population of the Norfolk partake of this black complexion of the Atacamas. But this is a pretty
Oh, I
good one.
can't see it. I can't see it. I can't
Oh,
see
my fault. My fault. There you go.
it. What's this book
So
called?
researches philosophical antiquarian concerning the Aboriginal history of America.
Boom. There we have it. So anybody who's looking to go on this journey, there you go. Dive into this. I'm gonna definitely pull that up too, so I can
Yeah.
read through it. And then what's
Yeah.
a powerful quote that people can apply to their life?
Oh wow. I
I
guess
put you on the spot.
I got a piggyback of another brother, um, Con Drop, and he said, if they can't tell you who you are, how can they tell you who you're not?
Bars. That's bars, Brody. Thank you. Um, to anybody who is enjoying this episode, anybody who watches this episode, If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit a like button. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you share this with your family. I know we just dropped you guys down a rabbit hole, but the information is out there. Make sure that you hit the link. I'm gonna put his YouTube um, in the description. Make sure you guys do your research. We're gonna spin back and give you guys more details on a lot of this stuff. And until next time, peace, love, and light. Big swim.